Okay, it's on and I believe recording. Morning.
Hello. Good. Good morning, Mike.
Morning.
Mark. Had a beautiful day, huh?
Oh, the sun's finally kind of out.
We need that sun.
Yes, for sure.
I gotta get that garden growing. Man. Not the weeds
The
either.
garden's growing, but so are the weeds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good day to mow the lawn today. Wow. When you're retired, you can plan all that stuff.
Yeah. Falls apart anyhow. Something introduces itself.
Like it when a plan comes together. Good morning.
Great.
How's the new sheriff holding up? All right?
He's doing okay.
Okay. You better.
We're doing good. I didn't mean to like, he's all right. No, he's.
We'll put you on the spot.
On the spot.
You know, ask him when he gets
That
here.
was kind of a loaded question, wasn't it? Bill, you guys get down and see Gary Rivers?
Not yet. I'm going sometime this week, so.
They're always coming along.
Huh?
Jeff Jensen was asking me too, but, you know,
It sounds like it's not very long, so.
wow. On that, my God, I thought you were pushing a baby there.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
I had my,
Where did you get that contraption?
my husband.
You're a professional.
No, it's just easy to remove stuff.
Yeah, my Carol Nagel was down there, last week? She said he admitted he's probably got less than a month.
It's a rough one.
Yep. Bad we can't pick who goes out.
Yeah. Well, he was a big time smoker too. Oh, Terry. Terry, the old turtle pond's looking better.
Okay, before we get into the meeting, I could have swore I signed that budget.
You
for-
did, it just didn't.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
so those electronic signature spots,
huh?
if you don't type it in there and use the drawing, it doesn't print.
Okay,
So you did sign it, it just
Okay.
didn't show on them.
okay.
Well, you won't need that bail bond.
Nope.
Perfect. Yes.
I know where to go though.
Okay.
How you doing? Okay,
Very good.
still have therapy?
So here's how my morning,
One more week.
I was playing a little cribbage, you know? And first thing I did is I was first to go. I played a 5. Like, okay, what am I doing? So then I go out to the car. I have the remote control in my hand, not my keys. I mean, this doesn't, yeah, this is too early.
I got in the truck and wondered why it didn't start in the garage this morning. I didn't have the fob in my pocket.
Oh, yeah.
It happens.
Yes.
Running from Peg.
When I first got the truck, I put the fob in the drawer right inside the door, going in the door. All night, the truck was peeling that fob out of that drawer.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on the other side of the kitchen
Oh,
or something.
Yeah.
Every time I looked out there, it was on, the lights were. I just think that was the distance from, maybe from here to Kurt, but just think always. They said to never leave it in the truck.
oh,
Some people got, they're leaving
yeah.
a computer on all the time on.
Oh. Yeah, I never would.
Morning. Waiting for you, shuffling your papers, and I was gonna say hi.
Good morning, Phil. Morning.
I thought you sounded like Mark Olmsted.
Y'all looks a lot better when you're on that side of the table.
I thought she would just.
You think?
Yeah, you got a comfort zone.
Figured opposite side of the room.
This is a bad one. This is a bad side over here.
Well, or, well, this is undergoing. Probably a transfusion or infusion right now. It depends on, yeah. But actually, it depends. He'll either be waiting to go in or he will
Oh, yeah.
be having it.
Never needed it
Gotta get these clocks.
in 3 years.
Figured it out.
Okay, it's 8 o'clock and I will call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from 15.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes from 2015. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All say no. Motion carried. Public comment. Any public comment? Any comment? Okay, public comment is closed. Tom, are you on? Aren't we even on?
On.
Is Tom, are you on?
No, Tom just texted me. He can't get on. Are you gonna call him or do you want me to?
I can.
Okay.
He made it back out because I talked to him yesterday and he said he didn't know if it'd be done by 8 or not, whatever. Yeah.
Well, he was either gonna be waiting to go in or he'd be in having it.
Yeah. So I said, well, call whenever.
Hello, Miranda.
Hey, Tom, I've got you on speakerphone.
All right,
Can you hear everyone?
I can hear you.
That's most important.
Hi, Tom.
It's on your link. It worked. Connect to anything.
Okay, Tom, you're on for your report.
All right. Hazard mitigation grant is still on hold by the federal government, so we're not moving ahead with that. We did not have enough storm damage for the county level. Apply for Wisconsin Disaster Fund. None of the townships or villages or city applied for any. We had about 750,000 minimum worth of private damage, but that counts toward the total. It doesn't count. Doesn't get reimbursed. So that's kind of where the emergency management stuff's at. 251 and 254, we had work done on them yesterday. The technician was there from 8:30 in the morning till 9 at night. Sounds like he got everything fixed. With those two, 250 still has to go for a recall to Chippewa and get the door lock also fixed. We had a picnic on the 21st of May, it's the biggest crowd we've had to date. Door prizes, a lot of food, camaraderie, man, good time. A couple of EMTs coming on board. Wendy Sino, we're just waiting for the doctor to sign off on her, and the other two are finishing up their classes now in Minnesota online. So we'll see how that goes. And the new scope of practice is out. The only really change is EMTs are allowed to give epinephrine for allergic reactions up the nose, squirted up the nose. So we're looking at whether we change that or not. That's kind of report in a nutshell. Unless anybody has any questions.
Were the 3 new EMTs gonna help, Tom?
That was cut out.
It was Phil Schneider, and he's wondering who the 3 new hires will be helping. Yeah.
Wendy Sinor lives in Tony. Keaton Gerber, I'm not sure. I think he lives over east somewhere. And the other girl, Lila, is from Bruce.
Anything on the hours required for the EMT class? I talked to our representative who was gonna talk about it, but the only thing he's talking about is the state, he's got a bill introduced, the state will pay for the class after they pass. But he missed the whole point on the hours, I guess.
Yeah, all I know, Phil, is they haven't increased the hours yet. It's still 180. They were talking about going to 240. They have not done that yet. I don't think.
Okay.
Really don't have a lot of support. So hopefully that won't happen. 180 is already.
Sounds like the repayment for the past tests will go through, at least at this point. So, but somebody will still have to pay for the class until they get their pass card.
Until they get it done, yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing it now because we've got a lot of, we've got $45,000 more grant money this year than we've had previous years. So I've been paying for these classes up front, so it's not a hardship for them that way.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions for Tom right now? Okay, you don't have any training requests, right?
No.
Okay, payment of the bills. You can see, what's there, any questions on that?
Put that on the center of the table.
Okay, we're up to payment of the bills, and so I asked them if they had any questions on the bills.
How are we with that, with the steps, Tom? Do we have it on all the ambulances now, or you still got one or two waiting them?
254's got put on yesterday. So all the newer ambulance have it. I'm not gonna put it on the 14 because that'll be the next one to go.
Okay, yeah,
But all the rest of them have it.
good.
Yep, so we have 4 out of the 5 have that.
First, people appreciate you.
And for us old guys getting in and out.
Okay, any questions on the bills for Tom? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve payment of the bills.
Make a motion.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to approve payment of the bills for emergency services. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next thing, Tom, is your favorite thing is the,
The reports.
right. The first one is, well, emergency management, a budget 250. And on that one, again, I don't, do you have this with you? Okay, so it's budget number 250 and you're saying EMR wages are high as they're covering more shifts. So you're just looking at for this year, the budgeted expenditures, you've got 669,000 spent already, theoretically, and only revenue of 7,000. Why? You explained it to me. Why don't you explain it to the rest of the committee?
Okay, as far as I know, the finance department hasn't. As payments, they haven't put it into the budget yet. So they haven't, and I can't remember the word they used, but they haven't allocated that money back to us yet. That's why it's so small on revenues. It should be a lot higher than that 5 months in. And yeah, like he said, the only thing I'm backing on that one is that first responder wages. They're covering more time on the ambulance. And we've got a lot more involved. We've got more first responders and they're actually going to call so that their wages high. We'll just have to pay it out of that 111 ambulance account.
Okay,
In the same budget, it's just a different wage line.
okay,
And of all the budgets, that's the only concern I have, and it's, I don't remember what's here. Look at this, just put under wages. No, the summary sheet she gave me doesn't have 25 on it, so I guess I can't tell you where I'm at. That exact budget line.
okay, but like you said, the biggest thing is that the revenues haven't been posted to the account yet.
Correct, and I've got the wrong, I put the plan of action was to allocate those to ambulance to the 111 account. It's actually the 121 wages for EMT,
Okay,
not the 111 is my wage. So it's, I picked the wrong account. There's not enough in my wage account to pay for all the first responder calls, so.
okay. Any questions on that? We'll move on to the next one. He had no concern for budget 252. And you can see there, budgeted, the budgeted items are low, but you've increased both the projected expenditures and revenues on those.
Correct, that's the grant, the ambulance grant that we got, 40-some thousand more than we thought we were gonna get.
Right.
That's why it's so much higher.
And
And
so,
we need the new radios, so I plan to use the majority of that money for radios for the responders.
okay, moving on to LEP operations 253. Again, there's nothing, no concerns there. The budgeted revenues and expenses are the same. Flipping on to 254, that's the grant. Again, we've got some revenue in on that, but no concerns, $2,000 for expenditures on that. 255, emergency management. Okay, that again, it says part of the expense needs to be moved to travel and not left in training.
Right, my training budget's over, but there's nothing taken out of my travel budget, so part of that should, I just gotta have them do a budget transfer or entry and move it over where it belongs.
Okay, and your projected expenditures and revenues are the same, so you don't really have any concerns on that.
No,
Okay, and that's all.
yep, just a motion to approve those and send them on.
Right, any questions on any of that for Tom quickly? Anybody? Looks pretty cut forward and everything. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the budget report for emergency management services.
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the budget report for May and forward to finance. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, those opposed say no. Motion carried. Okay, anything else, Tom? We'll let you
No,
go.
that's it, they just called me back for my treatment, so I gotta go.
Yep, okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Moving on then to
Okay,
medical examiner.
it was a pretty quiet month. We had, one natural death and one accidental death. 4 cremations, 3 hospice deaths, and that was all for the month. I did my online training, of course, that I do every month. There's no issues that I have right now. I don't have any invoices, but I will next month. Don't get used to it. And then I guess we can,
Okay, any question on that? I guess, to review invoices, like say there are none. So I'll need approval for the, well, I guess we have payment report of 0 for the medical examiner.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the medical examiner, bill report of 0. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carries. Okay, budget review. You have that here. Let's see, well, you just have one account. And on here, if you look at it, actual expenditures, budgeted revenue, there's only, well, you have no concerns.
no,
Budgeted expenditures and, so
The year to date, is that through May? Through May?
yes,
there's no autopsies, yet this year. So. And of course, last month was really quiet, 2 deaths, that was it, so.
so yeah, it looks like it's under, so no concerns. Any questions for her on that?
Move to approve.
Okay. Motion has been made to approve and seconded the budget, approve the budget report for the medical examiner for May. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All say no. Motion carried. Okay, thank you. Do you have anything else? That's it?
No,
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Moving on to the sheriff's report.
Okay, for the month of May, our ADP was 24. MP, we had 1, and we also had 2 inmates out of county at no cost to us. They were on EMP at different. Deputy Tuma did we actually hosted, North County hosted out of River Electric, the TAC and validation training. TAC and validation is for verifying warrants. Real meticulous type of work to make sure everything's perfect and there's no mistakes. So we have to have at least 1 TAC and validation officer on staff to do that. Upcoming training requests. Pat Heater at Basic SWAT. He was in addition to our Baron Rusk SWAT team. We have to go through the process of adding more people to that team as well as we become more staffed. We've lost a couple guys in the last month or 2. So we can't have people until we hire more people.
Motion for the training.
And approval for out of county training. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the out of county training for Pat Heater. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No. Okay, payment of the bill. Any questions? Yeah, calls for service. Yeah, we can do that. Anything new or be aware of on those?
Nope, nothing that's crazy. You will notice our drug offenses are down 2025. That's because we are able to fill the drugs with your spot rates. We're working there. Hopefully get there by September is our hope. We have interviews today. Our emergency detention calls are fairly high this year. That doesn't mean that every emergency detention call we go on, that we actually take them into custody. They might not get chaptered, but we've had a lot.
What is the definition or what exactly is?
So we had one last night, actually. We'd call people in at 3:30 in the morning to take that transport. Maybe Terry, you call us and say, hey, I just got off the phone with my cousin and he or she made a couple of what I perceived were possible suicidal comments. So our deputies will go to your cousin's house, check on her or him to see if they are actually suicidal. If they say, no, I just kind of made those comments out of spite and am I depressed? Yes, but am I going to follow through? No. Then we would link them with HHS or services.
Are most of these like mental health things?
Yeah. So just because we go on emergency detention call, doesn't mean we actually chapter somebody every time.
Okay, let's move on to overtime postings.
The first one is for patrol. You can see there's 3 in the middle there that I canceled because that jury trial came off the calendar. Otherwise, the other ones were filled. That's the first page. And then pages 2 and 3 are all for the jail. There was, I think, 40 time shifts in the month of May in the jail.
How does that compare with last month?
Very similar.
Similar.
And the month prior, very similar. It shouldn't be as bad for June because we have hired people and we are getting them through the training process. So I know for June, we were able to take 16 shifts off of that because one of our newest deputies completed her FTO training in the jail. We're trying to do something a little bit different with the dispatch FTO. We're trying to, so for example, we just had a gal come off of FTO in the jail. Now she's working shifts on her own. We're trying to, when we have an FTO in dispatch, having that jailer who's not dispatch trained yet, to try to get some dispatch training in while she or he are working their normal jail shift, to try to get that process going quicker. So far it's working okay, but we're very short on dispatchers right now because of staffing levels. We haven't been able to dedicate an FTO to just dispatch train somebody. They've been having to pull jail shifts. So we have another one starting middle of June. Middle of June, we'll get him through jail FTO. We also are behind on sending new hired jailers to jail school, which is required. We're behind because we haven't been able to fill overtime shifts to send somebody. We are sending someone in, I think it was July or August. July to jail school. We are able to request an extension through DOJ, and we've had to do that. But they understand that staffing in jails isn't excellent either across the state. So we've never been denied those extensions.
Some of the surrounding shoppers and everybody's looking for them.
Yep, there are jails that are full. There are dispatch centers that are full, but for the most part, jail dispatch oftentimes is not full staff.
Short are you?
Right now, we are one female and an either or. Right now, the either or is the extra person that you guys gave us permission to have. Just never been able to fill it.
How many are in that section?
16.
Okay.
Yep. The jail captain, Tom Onik, was able to come back last week, finally, which is great, but only for part-time, only half days. But even though he's only working 4 days, it's still helping tremendously. So we don't know when he'll be able to come back full-time. It'll all depend on his doctors. So right now he's back half-time, which has helped out quite a bit. So we'll see how the summer goes. But the way it's going right now, there should be less and less overtime in the jail as the months move forward, as long as we don't lose anybody. And we could lose someone tomorrow, or we might be full staff for 2 years. You never know.
Any questions?
You're not anticipating anybody leaving at this point.
So in the jail, I am not anticipating anybody leaving. On patrol, we are anticipating 2 people leaving the first quarter of next year.
How short are you there?
On patrol, we are interviewing 2 today, and that's what we're short. But we believe we will have a retirement between January and March of 26. And we believe another deputy will leave for another agency between January and April of 26. He's already made me aware of that I'm looking, and chances are good I will probably be gone in March or April of 26.
Any other questions? Okay, let's move on to payment of the bill. Any questions?
I do. What is under the medical?
Which one are you looking at? The advanced correctional?
Well, inmate medical. I'm looking at,
No, on the left,
Who's the vendor?
I'm sorry. Marshfield Clinic.
that's their med sec.
So that could be anything as broad as an emergency room visit. It could be a dentist appointment. It's any medical appointments that they go to while housed in our facility. So we pay their bills for them at the state rate, which is similar to like a Badger Care rate. So we do get it at a reduced rate. And then those inmates are billed for that portion. The chances of us getting 100% back is not always high, but we do get some of that back as revenue in the jail budget.
I would say every single month, there's 1 to 6 ER trips or clinic trips or
Mhm.
whatever for inmates.
They are informed, they will,
Yeah.
there'll be more action to try and recollect that money, so they just don't use that as a reason to get out of jail for a while.
Yeah, and their visit to an ER or a clinic has to be approved and suggested by the jail nurse and the ACH doctor. They can't just say, my tooth hurts, bring me to the clinic. And we're like, okay, I guess we have to. No, we get told by our contracted medical staff that yes, they need to go to the doctor, or no, they don't need to go to the doctor.
That 16K annual thing for Motorola Solutions. Is that an annual
Yeah,
or
Motorola 16.
Mhm.
That's our service
Annual.
contract.
service contract?
That's the $28,000 renewal you guys approved last month. It's only 16 this year because it's split between 25 and 26. So the remainder of that amount will hit our 2026 budget.
Gotcha.
That was the $20,000 bill that Miranda and I saw for the first time last month, remember?
Contract that you didn't know about.
Yeah, because we had a 5-year contract. We never saw that bill.
Did you check on a possible 5-year contract to save money, or? I know there was talk about that.
Mhm.
Yep, so we're going to, if it can save us. If it can save us $5,000 or $10,000 in the long run, we're going to do it, but how are we gonna fit that?
Yeah.
Into our budget? It's currently not there, so we'll have to, I guess, weigh the pros and cons.
I'll make a motion to approve though.
Seconded.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to approve the sheriff's bills. Are there any other questions on them? Okay, if not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Both say no. Motion carried. Bills have been approved. Next thing is budget review. Okay, the first one, Sheriff 210, again, just looking at that, for this year. We've got a concern there, 5-year agreement, well, that's what we just talked about. And well, okay, and then further down, and that one is overtime, patrol overtime. So I guess, how do you plan to handle that? I mean, it looks like the projected revenue is gonna stay the same or a little bit higher. And right now your projected expenditures are less than the budgeted, right? For right now. But like I say, you've got the reason that management software agreement, and how much was that again?
16,000
This year.
This year, the remaining.
And that's what we just saw, the bills. Okay, and then the other thing that you had was change where certain patrol overtime could take a hit too. So that again, be fleshed out later on.
Yeah, and overtime for us is you never know what you're gonna have for overtime. You know, if we had 3 jail staff leave in the next 2 months, we have to fill every single one of those shifts. Patrol, if we're full staffed and one person leaves, we're still good. If we're 2 people short, for the most part, we're still good. There's not consistent overtime. When on patrol, once we get to 3 short, there's consistent overtime that has to be filled. So for now on patrol, I think we're okay unless someone leaves, which I know we have another deputy who has been applying for places.
Any questions for him on that one, budget 210? Okay, 211. Again, it looks like, the income's going to stay the same projected, and the expenses you've got projected, again, a little bit less than budgeted, but you're over on the jail equipment budget, right?
Not yet.
Oh, you've got
Well, we have-
800 yet.
We got a couple pennies left in there.
What was the big reason for that? I mean, the elevator, was that?
The elevator, that
No,
elevator.
the elevator hits a different budget.
Okay.
My thought on why that's happening is when it was time to trim the budget, we cut that line and it just is not feasible to do. Where we are saving money is out of county housing and out of county transports. We're saving a lot of money that was budgeted for that we're not spending. So,
We don't plan on spending that.
no.
Is that in budget 211?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Just curious, what comes out of the maintenance budget or the 211? What kind of things do you charge?
So the 211 is the whole jail budget, but if you're specifically looking at jail equipment.
Yeah, just.
So they needed new radios too, right? Does that come out of the equipment line?
Mhm.
So the radios the jailers carry, where they're old or not working, so I think we just ordered 3 of those.
That was body cameras, not radios.
That's right, but they need more, they need radios too. 3 body cams. What else have we bought out of that line this year?
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was like the dryer or whatever. I wasn't sure what equipment was, you know.
No,
I wasn't sure
like
what that was.
anything that can be used is purchased specifically because we house inmates comes from a different budget line that's called inmate maintenance. So like if we needed a new dryer, that would come from there. If we needed, we just ordered body cameras that came from there,
New
If-
hires, all their
all
equipment.
of their equipment. If we needed like a shredder, that would come from there because it's for specific equipment for up there. There hasn't been any huge expenses out of that line. It's just that
Said it was-
it's little things that add up over time.
And
We've hired a lot of people.
That's fair.
We'll get to the elevator further down.
Any further ones on that? Okay, next one is 212, water patrol. Well, again, there's not much there to anything there, no concerns. Quick time, a snow patrol, no concerns. Again, the budgets are there. 214 is K9. And well, he had some, but it looks like, your budget's still doing okay at this point.
How's Leo doing?
His diagnosis from the doctor was that he can no longer be a dual purpose canine. So he is now officially a single purpose, which means he can't do any apprehension work or bite work. Because the surgery that the doctor was suggesting, the doctor said, even if we do this surgery, which is very intrusive because you have to come through the chest cavity to get to his back. Even if he completed the surgery, it was only a 50-50 chance that he could return to apprehension and bite work. So the doctor said it's probably not worth it. So he still can do vehicle sniffs. He still can do school sniffs. He still can do drug work, just no apprehension or bite work, which is unfortunate because he was really good at that.
So are you looking for possibly another one?
Yeah, so
Spot?
hopefully within the next 1 to 2 years, we will be able to add another canine that is a dual purpose dog.
Approximately, what is the cost of that?
Well, it depends on what kind of deal we get from the the company that we've bought our dogs from historically has been very good to us. And now knowing that Leo is only 3 years old, I'm sure Matt probably feels very bad that he sold us and no one knew, you know, but I'm sure he feels very bad that we bought a dog from him that could really only be a dual purpose dog, which was, it was supposed to be for 2 years. I mean, you should get 5 to 7 years out of a dual purpose dog. So I haven't had any conversations with Mac. I don't know if Bryce has, but I'm sure Mac probably feels bad that we bought this dog and now it can only be a single purpose dog. So when it does come time to buy a dog, I would not be surprised if Mac doesn't give us a pretty good deal on one. But I would say with the training, with the dog, you're the one that sees the bills, correct me if I'm wrong, 20 to 30,000
I would say 25 safely,
Yeah.
5.
to buy a new dog and get it trained. And that also includes
Upstate.
the hotels, the meals for the deputy and the dog, the deputy's wages. But yeah, 20 to 30,000 for a new dog.
So with Leo, is it just something that it wasn't due to an accident
No,
like that?
no, just
Just
how the dude was
a trait,
made. Genetics,
genetic.
maybe,
thing.
yep. So he was a very good dual purpose dog too.
So how did you come about finding that he couldn't, do the bites and stuff? Did he?
Bryce was
I
doing,
think-
so Bryce works with him a lot. So
Yeah.
let's say myself, Deputy Heater and Deputy Buyer are working tonight. Oftentimes Bryce will be like, hey, Phil, let's go do some training. And we'll go to the old clinic or we'll go up to Gates. And Bryce was doing bite work training with him and he noticed him wincing in pain a few times, which was not normal. So he tried to replicate that and he did. The old winced in pain. And he goes, God, something's wrong with his mouth. So brought him to Tech. Did x-rays on his mouth. Nothing's wrong with his mouth. And then noticed that bowel obstruction. So then went to Eau Claire for the surgery for the bowel obstruction. But the doc in Tech was like, it's not his mouth. I think you should schedule an MRI to make sure there's nothing with his neck or back. And when they did the MRI at University of Minnesota is when they found the spinal issues. So it was just something that Bryce caught, just that little wince in pain that he never before. He's like, something's wrong.
See,
He's a Belgian Malinois, like a smaller shepherd.
Is that common? Is that something common or not?
It's never, so we've even talked, even when Bryce got this new dog, I know we talked about canine insurance, but we talked about how we've never needed it before. So why do we want to start it now? We've never needed it. So. No,
$10,000 later.
Yeah. And we've had dogs in our department for as long as I've been here, 23 years. We've never had canine insurance and it's never bit us before. But we're still waiting back to hear from that National Police Dog Foundation to see if they'll help cover any of the medical expenses.
I was just gonna ask you that, if you've got a request.
And Cheryl Patrick, I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with her. She donates a sizable amount to the canine unit each year. And then this year donated an additional amount. So she's donated so far about $1,000, which is almost all of his vet bills so far. So.
Well, and this budget line too, I mean, it's all from, well, donations are, I mean, it's not levy.
Right.
It's non-levy, so. Okay, 240 tactical team. Okay, just a question that, I mean, it says there's no revenue and you have expenses and yet you have no concern. Can you quickly explain that? I mean,
So I keep calling it the SWAT team, but ERT team, there will never be revenue out of the ERT team. And all of our budgeted expenditures is for equipment, training wages, and call out wages. So call out is like when there's an ERT call and they get called out from home or whatever.
so that's levied,
Yes.
okay.
so this fundraiser that's coming up Saturday,
Are you coming?
I am. How does that go into?
That goes, so all the proceeds from that go into that 501c3 that we started. And all of that money goes towards training and equipment, additional to what we have here. So a pole camera. A pole camera is used by our team. We'll breach a window or breach a door, and we'll stick that pole camera from armored vehicle into the house so we can see in the house without having to put a human in the house. That alone is just $10,000. Any attachments are in our $5,000 to $8,000. So there's under the door attachments. So larger equipment items like that come from that fundraiser money. There's been talk in the team about possibly looking at a new armored vehicle, which we need. The Humvee that we have, it's okay, but you can only fit 3 operators in there because the driver can't leave it because the doors don't lock. So that 4th person can never leave that armored vehicle. And it'd be ideal to have a unit where you can put 5 or 6 or 7 guys in it that can get out. Like Barron has that Bearcat, and you can fit, I think, up to 8 guys in the back of that. But for one of those vehicles, even used, you're looking at $200,000 to $300,000. We wouldn't probably buy a new one because it's just too expensive. The one Barron has was used. That came from either Vernon or Grant or Dodge County. Shot several times. But we would possibly, there's been talks about trying to get another Bearcat and getting rid of the Humvee just because it's so small. But it serves its purpose for right now. But if we did that, from the fundraiser would go purchasing a new armored vehicle.
That would go into the 501c3.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is just local expenses here for.
So like we added, so when our guys need a new entry vest that expire every 5 years, that comes out of here. When we add a guy that has a huge melon and needs a new helmet, that comes out of here.
So this is Russ County team members.
Only,
And then Barron
not the
County,
joint.
right, Barron County has a budget like this, and then we have the joint bid for the whole team.
Oh, is the joint one the 501c3?
Yes.
Okay, and again, he's got check here, no concerns. So any other questions on that for him? Okay,
Do you run into a situation where, so you said, so it'll take 4 people? A driver and three officers? So do you ever run into a situation where you'd actually have to have more than 3
Yeah.
officers out?
Yeah, and we just can't do it.
And can you make those doors lockable?
I don't think you can because there's so much armor in the doors. So yes, you can take that back with a padlock on the outside. There's little holes on the outside of each door that line up that you can put padlocks on them. Anyway. It's no different than the Bearcat. The driver has to remain in the Bearcat because that door doesn't lock either.
Oh,
But you can have 6 to 8 people in the back of it.
okay, moving on to budget 220 Edge. Edge is now done for the year. So your expenses are more than you had projected. According to this, you're projecting more. So is there any, this come out of levy again too?
Yeah, so we need to, as a department, I guess, seriously look at if we're going to continue the EDGE program. There's been a lot of talk about how he does it to 5th graders. He teaches it to 5th graders. Kind of like DARE. And did the DARE program work? Yes, it's subjective. Does the EDGE program work? I guess it's subjective. And the main reason why we're over budget in that is because Bert needs to coordinate with the schools based on their calendars and his calendar of when he can teach these classes. And several times he's had to come in on his days off at overtime to do it because of the school's calendars. I don't know if the cost that we incur, the department, as a county, outweighs what students may or may not get out of that program. So we've discussed it a couple different times of if we're going to continue it. I don't know. I know there was, before Jeremy Jacobs left and before Jeff left, we did have several meetings, Jeremy Jacobs and I, with Lambeau School District and the Bruce School District, speaking about a school resource officer, full-time. It'd be an additional full-time member for our department, but we were talking with those districts about how we would fund that. And both of those districts did say that they had money that they would be able to allocate towards that school resource officer. But then Jeremy left. And there haven't been any more discussions about it. I think it's something that we would like to reapproach in the next year. But it's really going to determine how much money those two districts are willing to pay for that. I know HHS had money as well that they could use to help fund that position. But with that position, there would be curriculum that came with that position to teach in the schools at younger ages, like getting at those kids at first grade, second grade, third grade. Because some of the funds that HHS would be able to allocate towards that, it would require there be curriculum taught in the schools to certain age groups. But we'll have to maybe possibly look at that moving forward.
So we would be responsible for the summer months then when school's out? Be able to use them other places or?
Yeah, so if we did have a school resource officer, what they would do is during the school year, they would probably work Monday through Friday, normal school hours. Let's say Bruce had a basketball game tomorrow night. That SRO might work 2 to 9, 1 to 9, so they could go to the basketball game. If Lambeau has a football game, they might work normal shift, but stay at the game and flex those hours. So they might work 5 hours the next day. But during the summer months, it would be an extra deputy that we could have on the road. School was out. So we haven't gotten that far yet as far as what schedule they would work during the summer months. Would we keep the normal Monday through Friday, 8-hour shifts? Would they go back to 4 on 4 off like patrol does? That's that'll be a good position to be at, hopefully, maybe towards the end of next year.
Okay, anything else on that? Okay, moving on, budget number 221, ERDU, no concerns there. I assume this is all levy again, but dollar amount under what budgeted. 225, victim services. No concerns there. Oh, you're not projecting anything more expenditures because it got changed.
Yes. Yep, that position is no longer in our office.
229, wireless 911. Well, and this is going to be a transfer.
Yes. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but that $2,600 shouldn't have came out of there. It should have come out of a different line.
Okay, so basically the whole thing is going to be zero.
Yes.
Okay. 233 ATV patrol, no concerns there. 236 shop with the cop, and no concerns there. Coming up for a while. 237 lifesaver. Nothing there really, no concerns. 240 jail maintenance.
There we go.
That's what it was. Yeah, the budgeted, the revenue is still the same. So you're expecting more in expenditures, okay, because of the Sally Port And, well, yeah, you mentioned before about getting new revenue sources or coming up with new ideas for that. Any questions for him on that one?
So you submitted that to insurance?
No. So if you, let's scroll, I'll answer your question. If we scroll down a little bit, let's just go past the Tech 84 for right now. We can come back to that if you want. So keep scrolling down pages. And when you get to, there's 2 pages of Tech 84, you get to repair work order for PKE. So when we got a bid from that elevator company, that came here, diagnosed what was wrong. It was from the power outage from the storm. He gave us a bid of $10,000. 1,500, 10,600, whatever it was. I sent Jerry Biller the bid, and I was texting him because we needed approval to fix that right away because we couldn't wait for the next meeting. He gave us the go ahead to get it fixed at the bid of $10,000. But then we received the bill of $10,500. And then was it the same day or later?
The same day.
The same day also received a bill of an additional 3,252. So I looked at it, and that 3,252 was travel and labor. Why was that not in the $10,000 bid? If you're gonna bid us $10,500, travel and labor should be included in that bid. So I was a little peeved by it. So I called the elevator company on Monday and talked to a gal, and I haven't heard back. She said, I will have your regional rep reach out to you. And that was 2 days ago, and no one's reached out to me. But why would you not put travel and labor in your bid?
It should be at full cost.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wasn't happy with that. If I don't hear from them tomorrow, I'll call again and say I want somebody to call me by Friday. Or else.
You pay the $10 or the 10,000.
So, I mean, back to the original question on the insurance claim, can that be submitted?
So our total bill was, I guess our total bill.
$10,000 deductible.
Yeah, 10,000 deductible. So is the 3,000 worth
I
it?
understand, yeah, is it worth all that? Yep.
Yeah.
Just increase.
Oh, the deductible is 10K?
Yeah.
Government insurance is not like your private insurance.
Sure.
You know that. But anyway, so understand.
I want an answer why the labor and travel wasn't included in the bid.
Read.
Anybody should ask, what is this about?
So that additional travel and labor that could be submitted then?
No, it's just 3,000 more.
Yeah,
It's not worth it.
I mean, the deductible is 10K, but we're going 3,000 over, so.
yeah, because if we submitted a claim and our deductible is 10,000, our premiums are gonna go up. Will our premiums outweigh that 3,000? Probably.
How long were you down then, with the elevator?
Oh, it was probably a solid 4 or 5 days because they had to wait for the parts, maybe 6 days. So we were having to bring inmates in through the general public lobby. Rough for us. Not ideal, but
Who's the county? Who do you insure with?
Wisconsin County Mutual.
I guess we can talk offline later, but I don't think that government insurance works like your regular homeowner's insurance. I mean, I ask about like fender benders with our vehicles and stuff like that. I was told that it does not affect that premium if I turn them in.
Correct. I would tend to agree with you. Actually, this is the first I've heard of this overage. So when it was $10,500, the $500 wasn't worth it.
I
Now
agree.
that- Now that it's 3,500, I do think that we should talk about this more.
and see if
Yes.
we shouldn't submit. You don't think the premiums would outweigh the?
No, I would agree with Kurt on this one.
That's
It's a
common
trend.
business. It's.
Because I know for our squad cars, we don't pay per incident for deer hits. Right? It's already deductible. We pay a flat deductible
Auto is $1,000 per.
and we pay per incident. Okay.
I I guess for $3,000, I would think it'd be worth researching, but
Would agree with you, but like I said, this is the first I've heard of this bridge.
Any other questions on the one that we just, field maintenance, I guess, was the one. On that, so that's good. Probably be over. He's already explained that.
yeah, that's,
Any further questions on? Okay, I'll need a motion to approve the budget report for the sheriff's department.
second.
Motion made, seconded to approve the budget report for A, the sheriff's department. All over in favor, say aye. Aye. All say no. Carried. Okay, moving on to tower project updates.
Okay, tower project update. We had our weekly meeting yesterday. I was not able to attend. Ashley, Neil, and Tom attended that. We are getting, as it goes towards squad radios, two of our new squads are being changed over next week. And then once that's done, Matt is coordinating with GenCom this week to schedule the actual radio and repeater changeovers in the squad cars. What was the update from the actual tower stuff?
They have a few more antennas to put up and they are hoping to start doing hot tests or something they called it through the month of July.
So it should be up and running this fall.
He's thinking August.
August.
Mhm.
Yeah, so when they do the installs of the new radios and repeaters, which is gonna happen in the Sallyport, the very first one or two squads they do, those guys are gonna take those squads and go all over the county and test everything to make sure it works. I mean, it'll take an hour or two, get out of their squad with their portable, walk away from their squad, test their portables, make sure the repeaters are working, make sure different channels are working. So we don't do all the squads and then realize there's a problem. So those first one or two squads, when they get done, those guys are taking them out and gonna try to see if they can make them not work. So that's the plan. But yes, hopefully August is go live. But we wanna check and double check everything before we flip that switch.
So the portables have that VHS or whatever it is where it goes through the car.
VRS,
That's still going on. Okay.
yeah, vehicle repeater system.
Yeah.
How does this, isn't this also kind of tying with the ambulance?
Mhm.
Tom?
Yep.
So have they started?
Yeah, Tom has his portables, his chargers, his ambulance radios. Their radios are a little bit,
Programmed yet?
yeah, they're programmed. Yeah, he has, I think, at least one in an ambulance right now.
Mhm. The new ambulance has the new radio.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, any further questions? Yeah. Our update? Okay. TK4 maintenance agreement? That's, we kind of hit that.
That's TKE for the elevator. This is
okay.
different.
That's for our body scanner, the Tech 84.
2,000.
252,
So there's two different
500. So
quotes here.
it'd be 3,700 some. Submit, right?
There's two different, go ahead.
Tom, we're on the Tech
Tech
84. So
84.
if you scroll.
Oh,
up,
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I thought you,
Yeah, keep going up past the text.
sorry.
A little
Keep
more.
going. One more. There.
Okay.
So that's for 1 year or 3 years? So for 1 year, it's 11,225. For a 3 year, it's 32,700. So instead of 11,225 per year, it would be 10,900. And we're wondering what your guys' thoughts were. Over the course of 3 years, it'd be less than $1,000 savings.
And you make them payments just yearly, or is it a one?
I've done yearly.
This is for maintenance on the new system?
It's on the body scanner.
Oh,
Is that the one in the jail and the one by the courtroom?
No, just the one in the jail.
Okay.
The one in the courtroom is just a metal detector.
okay.
Why would you not want to save money if you could, I guess?
Well, if it could be found, I like saving $1,000, but if it can't be found,
Well, I mean, it's in our budget to pay that yearly 11-ish thousand. So it would just reoccur every year. Instead of 11.2, it would be 10.9. We wouldn't pay the full 32,000 up front.
You could pay it in threes or something like that?
Yeah. Over the course of 3 years.
So it's just the differences between signing a 1-year contract and signing a 3-year contract?
Hmm.
Basically. And cheaper.
Is
I
that,
don't see that machine going away anytime soon. I mean, every jail will have one of those probably for the rest of our time here.
Looking for a motion.
Yeah.
I guess he wants a discussion which way to go.
Yep. You guys want us to do the 1 year or 3 year?
I would disagree.
I would say 3.
yeah. It's an expense you're gonna have whether you pay it yearly or in 3 years, so.
As long as the budget not be impacted because you can pay it over 3 years.
I don't think that's accurate. I am gonna have to consult with finance. I believe we have to pay that all in 1 year. But it can be allocated out to different year budgets.
It'll
but
be
I-
expense.
It'll be expensed
3
to
years.
2025.
So
But it would hit like 25 and then the 26 year would hit 26, 27 hits 27, 28 hits 28.
It's like a,
Right,
it's
but,
like a prepaid expense and then
right,
each
but
year
it's
you move
all
it from
paid in 2025,
one time. Right.
correct?
so that
So we have to have all of the funds
would take
in
a
2025. Yeah, so that'll be,
If that's the case, we don't have that in our budget.
Changes things.
Yeah, but it seems kind of. But not save the money if you can. I mean, it's,
But it's only like, it seems like $900 or $1,000 over 3 years.
The only question is on if you pay it yearly, could that go up each year?
It already has. Last year we paid the 10,900. This year for 1 year, it's
225.
11,225.
so I mean, all that would take would be a motion from this committee referring that to finance for them to overspend on that line. That's all I'm saying, but I just didn't want that information out there that it's not gonna all be expensed to 25.
I think with what you just said with the increase we've seen now, projected out 3 years, we'd have to go to finance to ask them to demand that they find the money.
No.
Just do the.
What's the matter? You don't want a job?
I just don't.
So it's that, what they're saying is, the whole cash thing, if you did it for 3 years, the whole cash amount would come out this year,
You know,
but the expense would hit each year, be allocated to each year. But yeah,
So we just have to come up with 20,000 some dollars.
Would you rather we just do the 1 year this year and then try to budget for it in 26?
Nope, no, I think we're miscommunicating here. So you're still, like Terry said, it expenses to 2025 because we have to have all the cash to cover it this year, but then it will book to the 3 years down the line. So even if you budget 60 grand or whatever next year, then you're gonna underspend all of that though, because you're still gonna hit 27, 28.
But we would have the amount up front in the budget, right?
Mm,
Are we saying?
well,
So we'd have a surplus then?
you would have,
Because then you're,
Okay.
it's how we do governmental accounting. It's the,
Well, it's the way standard accounting really,
Thank you. Yes.
I mean,
I'll be honest, say I don't understand governmental accounting.
okay, well, okay, let's use a quick, let's do a quick example. If let's just say it was 10, or say $9,000 to say 3 years, so it's $3,000 a year, okay. If you go with a 3-year thing, you would have to pay out in cash $9,000 this year. And so that would hit, and so you would have to have $9,000 available to pay out. But that wouldn't hit the expense, so then each year, $3,000 would hit your budget as an expense.
Yes.
So this year and then 2 years beyond.
It's the cash flow versus
So
expense.
where does that come out to be like a surplus then?
It would eventually, once everything washes out, yes, it would show then, because what you're doing is you're hitting it all in this year, but then when we get to next year, we've got $3,000.
Yeah.
So then we're gooder
It's just already paid.
on the prior year,
Yeah.
yes, because you,
Another 3, which have already been paid.
correct, yes.
So
It has to do with cash basis versus kind of what Terry was saying.
I guess I'd still go with the 3 years.
I would too. So how, I don't know why you wouldn't want to save a minimum of $900 and then next year, because you said they're going to raise it $500 next year or whatever, they probably will.
Everything gets more expensive.
Everything gets more expensive, and so,
Right.
so you're saying a minimum of $900.
I would just like to know how we should do this.
It would just be, if that's the motion that you want to make, it would just be referring this to the finance committee then.
I refer that to the finance committee then.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Okay, so you're,
The 3-year plan.
A 3-year, a motion to go with the 3-year plan, but I'm not sure how to word the sending it to finance thing.
Move forward to finance.
finance.
And just say in there to save the minimum $100 a year, which it would be the minimum savings.
And I think when you go to finance, take your projections, how much it's gone up each year.
Yeah.
Project that 3 years ahead, 3 years back.
We've only had that body scanner for
2020 got it on a
3
grant.
years.
We
2020.
really don't have a long record on that.
We'll have at least 4 or 5 years.
Okay, the motion, would you read the motion back?
Motion to forward the 3-year agreement to finance with the intent to save $900 per year, minimum $900 per year.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
The motion,
Soothe it.
okay.
Aye.
All those in favor say, all those opposed say no. Motion carried. TK, are we done with that one?
I hope so.
Yes.
So then you'll submit that? Insurance?
We have to talk about that, I think.
You're going with the elevator?
We need a motion on
Yeah,
it.
we'll talk about that. Well,
I'd like to hear what they have to say back.
we can talk about it, but I want to what I was hoping to I was hoping to hear back from the elevator company before today saying, oh, yes, we're sorry, or, oh, no, you're stuck with that. But I haven't heard back from them yet.
Like, sorry, made a mistake or?
Or I want clarification why that was not in the original quote. Like they knew someone was gonna come here, they knew someone was gonna have hours here, they knew someone was gonna travel here. Why was that not in that bid? It'd be different if that extra 3,000 was parts that they didn't know they were gonna need to fix it. But it's labor and travel. They should know that. So
Either way, since it's not going to raise the premium, you would still be able to submit like 500 if they said it was a mistake.
So the insurance agent had opined on that in the past, and anything typically that small,
No?
it's not worth, because of like all the administrative work that goes into it.
Oh.
Yeah,
Paperwork.
yep.
Okay, now are we done with the thing? Okay, moving on to the TK elevator invoice over. So we're going to not do anything on that right now until you hear back.
yeah, I want an explanation of why that is how it is. And then if they do say that, if they can give me some reasonable explanation of why it is that way, then we can meet with Ashley and figure out if we want to do an insurance claim.
You want a motion stating that to back you up on it when you talk to them?
To like go ahead,
My finances say, yeah,
when you submit the claim, if it is in fact a valid charge.
Yeah.
I'll move that. I'll move to proceed with the claim if it turns out that the
Bill is 13,000 or
the
whatever.
mileage and travel, et cetera, is actually a valid bill. Then they could submit that 32.52 and 500. 504 cents. So it'd be 37.52 and 4 cents. We'll go ahead and submit that to insurance.
Would you like to repeat that?
Motion to wait for a response from TKE on overages and submit insurance claim if overages are accurate.
Want to change the wording of that? Okay, the motion has been made, was it seconded?
Yeah,
Seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All say no. Motion carried. Anything else?
No.
Anything else? Anything else we need to know?
Going.
Okay, the next meeting date is July 9th. And at 8 o'clock. Which is the second. Okay, if not, anybody else have anything? Okay, then I'll adjourn the meeting at 9:12. You all for coming.